The Three Sisters, a story from Prague. A long time ago, three sisters lived on Mala Strana in Prague. Their parents had died, leaving them lots of money, and they spent their time partying, gossiping, and dreaming of the men that would marry them. One day there was a knock on the door, and there stood a prince from a faraway land. He talked about palaces by the sea. The oldest daughter fell in love with him, and she packed up her stuff, took her share of the money, and off she went to marry the prince. Soon there was another knock on the door. There stood a duke from a faraway land who talked about castles in the mountains. The middle daughter fell in love with him. She packed up her stuff, got her share of the money, and off she went to marry the duke. Not long later, there was a third knock on the door, and there stood an English gentleman who talked of his country home in England. The third daughter fell in love with him. She packed her stuff, took her share of the money, and off she went to marry the English gentleman. The house remained empty, and the locals talked of the three noblemen who married the three sisters. But one day a traveller came to Prague, and he told a different story. A long way from Prague there was a cottage where three sad sisters lived. Each had left Prague with the same man. Fooled into marrying him, he then robbed them, took their money, and left them in the cottage. At least they still had each other. If you enjoyed that, please check out my website, gareththestoryteller.com, for more information about what I do.